Hello everybody and welcome back to Urban Adventures. It is Saturday, December the 19th. Always have to think twice when I tell you the date. It's lunchtime, 12:30, and we're in the central London area of the city in the financial district. The reason I'm showing you this pub is I just like it. It's part of the Nicholson's chain, and like all the other pubs in London, it's been forced to close. Unfortunately, I think it might be terminal for this one, and you can see that it's got fantastic history. The ship stands on the site of an original coaching inn called the Talbot, destroyed in the Great Fire of London 1666, and so on. And it has this sign here, and I truly wish it well and hope that it can come back. But of course, the situation is difficult. And a little bit of information on William Nicholson, founder of this public house chain from 1824 to 1909. He was a bit of a Renaissance man, distiller, politician, cricket player and benefactor. And some more information there. The public house, or the pub as it's called, is a key thing in English history. Every town, every village has its pub, so they're inseparable to the public scene in England. And then you've got this place to let here, which I really love the brickwork on it. And show you up there's a date of 1886. So off we go. As I said, we're again in the financial area, fairly close to place called the Monument, which marks where the Great Fire of London broke out in 1666. So I think we need to have a look at that. As a Saturday, it's of course a lot quieter here, but again, during the weekdays at the moment it's also pretty quiet. So I'm going to show you this monument, which is just further on, I think. Yeah, just a bit further on. And we'll go in for a close look at it. So dig out your history books. You can read about the Great Fire of London of 1666. And I'll show you just there. That's all in Latin, so don't ask me what any of it means. I think there is a translation here. So as I said on a previous video, just pause the screen on your own piece of tech and you can read all that. but it's got some fantastic details there. I mean, look at those beasts there. There's one there and one there. Absolutely marvellous. And if I just do this, you can see the top of it there. And it's known as the Monument, and it has a City Heritage Award from 2010. So pretty special place on the London Landmark Tour, the Heritage Tour. Okay, let's press on. So this part of London is very much a mix of your landmarks in stone from past times, such as the Bank of England, the Monument, etc., etc. And then, of course, these very uninspiring sort of office blocks. As you know, I mean, I love skyscrapers, but these low-level sort of office blocks that sort of just get plonked down next to landmark buildings. I think things are better now, but certainly in the past there was no sort of thought to really planning anything that would be aesthetically pleasing. I think particularly the sort of 30-year post-war period was particularly bad. So from sort of 1950 to 1980, I think a lot of destruction was wrought across London and other cities, and now this is I think also in the Nicholson's chain. It is in fact a pretty attractive pub. Again closed, and there's a reference there to the date of founding, 1873. So I'm guessing this notice will be on pretty much all the pubs. And we are on this place called Lovat Lane, and it's pretty picturesque, pretty atmospheric. So I'm going to take you up there and show you around. And then you have a bit of information there, the walrus and the carpenter. So let's have a look. Always have to explore whenever you see a decent bit of cobbles. I recommend exploring. So this is Lovat Lane in the city of London. And that's kind of curious down there. That's a little sign there saying no right of way by order of the rector and church wardens. And that's the rectory, St Mary at Hill, just down there. And we've got the church here, St Mary at Hill, and Botolph Alley. Let's have a look. I only came across this alley maybe a few months back and thought it was quite impressive. Thought it warranted a closer look. It does remind me of some of the passageways in the Covent Garden area, and there's a few photographers out today also appreciating this district. That looks to me like a Banksy. Perhaps there's a few imitators around. It says, "Ain't no coffee without beans." So I'll leave you to figure that one out. Personally, I do buy coffee beans now, and I have a coffee grinder, which I think it makes sense. You can buy a packet of coffee beans for £5, which is the price of a couple of coffees in a cafe, and the packet of beans will last you sort of 20 cups. So just buy the grinder, it costs you 15 quid, and you can get fresh coffee every day. And I think we'll go back down low that lane, because I do like it. Let's swing around. And you've got these pretty impressive flags here in this anchor detail. I'm not even sure what those flags represent, but they're pretty attractive. And bang in the middle of your screen there is, of course, the Shard lying on the south bank. What you have to imagine is, in past times, boats offloading cargo and produce from the river, and men having to drag the items up here, up the cobbles. I imagine in its day this would be a bustling place of activity, of exertion, of commercial activity, just a big day-to-day place of business. So we need to get across this road here, and then I can show you some of the river. This is a pretty attractive building over here, which I think is connected to the old fishmongers building. The name has completely slipped my mind. What is it called? I'll have to come back to it. Oh, that's it, Billingsgate Fish Market. For some reason it just flew out of my mind. That's another decent look up the back there, showing you the top of the walkie-talkie building, and just beside it is the back of the Leadenhall building, and then the church in the middle, and then this building up here is kind of interesting. There's a magpie perched up there. you've got this here, reading room and library. So a nice Victorian detail there on the top. And there's something up there which I'll try to zoom you up. It might be tricky to read it. I certainly can't without my glasses. But if I hold that steady, perhaps you can make out what that is about. So, showing you some of that. Okay. And there's an attractive face. It's like the green man with a couple of fish there. So, yeah, details, motifs, referencing the river, the sea. It's a maritime and naval heritage here. And then this is all part of the old Billingsgate fish market. Yeah, it's pleasantly warm now, it's stayed dry, so no complaints there. And then got to show you these big impressive lights there. That's pretty special. Right, let's have a look at the river. And showing you there the monument right in the middle of your picture. Bit of police activity around here, don't know why. But the key thing is River Thames and everything that's involved there. So let's have a look. There, of course, you've got Tower Bridge. I'll zoom you up there, which is a Victorian creation attempting to look like something medieval. It's Tower Bridge. And there you've got a former Royal Navy vessel, which I can't think of the name off the top of my head. And then the glass building there is City Hall, which is the Mayor's office in the London Assembly. And to show you some detail there of the banks of the Thames, pretty murky, pretty muddy. And then the back of the, which I think is the sort of fishing, the Billingsgate fishing. And this is Old Billingsgate Walk, and to show you the river there. And looking out there, we've got Shard there, looking pretty fine. And then over here you can just see in the centre there, top of Southwark Cathedral. just starting to rain or drizzle, but I'm hoping it's temporary. And there you see a river craft there. And there's a pretty interesting building up there, which I don't know the name of that, but that would be again on the south bank. Okay, and you can see there's some modern towers there. Yeah, just referring back to the monument that was built to commemorate the devastating fire of 1666. The fire, in fact, did have one positive outcome. It did apparently clear up the Great Plague of 1665, which I think was responsible for many fatalities in London that year, and also on the outskirts across England as well. And as I'm here, I thought I'd bring it up. A couple of times this week in conversation, people have referred to this current crisis, and they've used the term plague. And I had a think about it, and I just had to sort of make the comparison and find that it's just not, the comparison is just not justified. The official statistics, in which both the authorities and the media agree, is that it has a survival figure of about 99.7%, or looked at another way, a mortality rate of 0.03%. If you're over 70, the figure does drop, but only to around 94%. And of the 60 or 65,000 UK alleged deaths, apparently close to 25,000 of them were over 85. And when I was a youngster, when I was growing up, there was such a thing called death by old age or natural causes, in which it was understood that if you were old, at some point you were going to die. So for the individual over 85 that was allegedly, apparently, unfortunate enough to meet his demise through this current pandemic, well, how much further was this individual going to live? Another 5 years, another 10 years? It does seem doubtful. And when the figures were around 50,000 fatalities, I kept seeing the figure that the number of people who died who were under 60 in reasonable health was only 339. So I have to say again, this is a long way from any sort of recognisable plague. The Black Death of 1348, the London plague of 1665 were horrific, deadly illnesses in which, although I can't give you the recovery figure, I'd imagine it's low, heading possibly towards zero. Certainly if such a contagion were in place today, then myself and everyone else would not be walking the streets, and we certainly would not need to be coerced into receiving any injections that ostensibly would be given in our best interests. So I shall move on. Over there, there's an interesting place. That's Gabriel's Wharf, and we can perhaps have a look at that. It's a mixed retail and hospitality feature, so we'll perhaps have a look at that. And you can see that on the top of Southwark Cathedral, the clock face is sort of slightly standing out there, the sort of gold coloured clock face there, with the flag of St George, the flag of England, flying above it. Right, let's press on. Yeah, London is a city that you couldn't describe as organic in a sense that its various bits and pieces don't form a sort of pleasing aesthetic in its entirety, but the fascination of London is how architecture is just dumped on top of each other. That's what makes it interesting. And Thames rockets. I mean, to me, that's what I love. Just the way that the sublime and the ridiculous just get dumped together. All manner of styles, all manner of periods. If you walk around Paris or Rome, everything's a bit more uniform, but London is just a bit of everything, and we need to go up here to appreciate better the views of the river. The iconic red bus there, crossing over the Thames. So that's your River Thames. That's your famous London Tower Bridge. For much more on anything to do with London, please watch my other videos on the channel Kent Davidson Urban Adventures. I'll sign off now. Have a nice afternoon. Bye bye.